we are so surrounded by all this business advice about, oh, you should have a battle board and you should have your income goals for the month, or you're not really running a business like as a business person, as a CEO. Actual CEOs of companies, they have targets, and I'm like, okay, I am running an actual business, but at the same time, I am trying really hard to detach from the outcome. And you're telling me, like, how do you balance all of that, right?
That's actually a really, really, really smart question. And I love that you asked that, because like that is definitely something that needs to be more of a conversation, because a lot of people come into business and like the first thing that they learn, the first program, the first whatever, have your target, right? What do you want to make? Okay. And then like, let's reverse engineer, like what needs to be done, how many of this, whatever. And like, don't get me wrong, I love me some data. I make a lot of decisions now in my business based on data. I know a lot of my data now, but at the beginning stages, I could not get hung up on data and on numbers when like I needed to just focus on building a real fucking foundation first. That was the genuine truth. And so it's like, could I have sat there and been like measuring analytics on every single thing? Yeah, I could have done that. Or I could just focus on just shutting the fuck up and learning how to make great content and just showing up every single day and not focusing on it needing to be perfect. I just needed to focus on it being done, because there definitely is a level in business that you do reach, that I did reach, where I did start paying a little bit more attention to certain things, like certain profit margins, making sure that certain things make sense. If X amount of people are in this program, what's my revenue going to look like? Of course, like you start to eventually do that. But a lot of people do that really, really soon. And then that forces them to be attached to that outcome instead of being attached to that process. And I've noticed when people are so attached to the outcome, they neglect the process. And if you fall in love with the process, you are going to have that outcome. And I even think about the money that I've made. Like my first 20K a month, I didn't try to make 20K a month. It just happened as a byproduct of me following the process and my daily non-negotiables. My first 100K a month, I didn't even know that I hit it at one point. And then I was like, oh, wait, like that transaction pushed this over the edge, right? I had a $152,000 a month the other month. That wasn't on purpose. Like, it wasn't like I need to do whatever. It's just the byproduct of the process over and over and over again, right? And again, now I make certain decisions based on certain pieces of data, based on what I see people buy, whatever, like that absolutely is true. But it's like, if you're only focused on 10K a month and you have that number on a fucking pedestal and you're like, oh my God, I need to do that. Or and if I don't do that, you get all up in your fucking head. I would rather people, especially at those beginning stages, get so immersed in the process that you literally forget about the outcome and you forget about what that looks like. Because in the beginning, you just got to build something. You got to build a brand. People need to know you, right? I was posting 3 videos a day every single day on TikTok when I first got started. And 3, most people are posting 1, 5 days a week, right? The average person was posting 20 a month. I posted 90 to 100 every month. So my focus was volume, getting people to know who I was, giving people a reason to pay attention to me, getting that credibility in there, right? That's why I built faster than most people, because most people, they hear 3 times a day, that's crazy. I think you're fucking crazy for not wanting to do what it takes to get your message out there if you think it's so important, right? And so, yes, we want to make sure we're making logical business decisions. Of course we are. But in the beginning stages, if you're attached to the numbers, you're never going to hit those numbers. Make it about the people and not about you. Focus on a lot of delivery. Focus on showing people why you are somebody that's worth paying attention to. Share that knowledge. And obviously, again, having somebody to help you, right? Like having a coach to make sure that all makes sense. Like that's the work that you and I do. And like that's the work that you help people as well with, right? Like figuring out their zone of genius, putting all of those things together, that back end stuff so that they can actually grow a company. Like that stuff is super important. But like at the exact same time, you can't just be so focused on this end result. You have to be focused on falling in love with the process. And if you don't fall in love with the process, this is going to be a fucking uphill battle for most people, 1,000%.
I know this because it was an uphill battle for me, especially mentally, right? When the result is not coming, you're like, oh, and then I start panicking, like, oh my God, it's been 2 months, 2 whole months.
Right? If it was that easy, we'd all do it. Right? If it was all you needed is 2 fucking months, we would all be very, very rich and outside of a 9-to-5 job. Right? That's the reality of the situation. But like also, like if it took 2 years, would it still be worth it for you? And if the answer is no, it's not for you. Business is not for you. And I say this to people all the time, because if it does take that long, because that can happen for some people, if you still are like, no, it's not worth it, it's not even worth trying. It's not, because you won't do what it takes. And like, there's a lot of harder things that pop up in business, especially as you grow, that are a lot more difficult. And like, if the biggest thing for you is patience, you're gonna have a really fucking big problem. You will, 1,000%.